Dota 2 has over a decade of different cosmetics and items, and during that time, many different philosophies of how to best monetize this free-to-play game have come and gone, resulting in tons of different discontinued or disused items or features that don't make any sense in today's Dota 2. I want to touch on some of the weirdest and most strange Dota 2 inventory items that exist today. I have some really interesting old vintage treasure and capsule items that I'm going to open to show you what they look like to open a decade-old Dota 2 treasure in today's reborn client, and a bunch of other weird disused features that you might not realize you still have access to in Dota, like viewing old battle passes in today's clients, or view your inventory in the way that you used to be able to before reborn. I want to start with the Bloom basket. So this is from the Bloom Festival in 2014. There were a few different options of redeemables during this event, but the Bloom basket was the cheapest. The event had a very convoluted monetization system that is similar to what you would see in some mobile games today. There were two separate currencies, one was more common for you to earn and the other was more premium. They're quite confusing to explain, but basically the one that you had to pay for was called Jade tokens, and those Jade tokens could be spent on 5 different items. These were the Bloom basket, the Bloom harvest, and the Bloom bounty. Those were the gift items you could unbox. The other was a seal of Vermilion Renewal, which was the key to open the treasure of Vermilion Renewal at the time. And the last was a recipe for the little green jade dragon, which was a courier that you could craft. Those 3 gift box items dropped items from the drop list in auspicious quality, and the higher the level of the gift box, the higher quality of the item from the drop list it would drop. So the Bloom basket is the cheapest one, and it dropped common items. Today, there's a very limited supply of these and all of the other treasures from that event. These are absolutely worthless to open, and these are really only collector's items, but I'm going to open one anyway just to show you what happens. All of the drops from these are in auspicious quality, which was just, at the time, they were trialing out all these different qualities of items like they were in Team Fortress 2. So you can see from this treasure, I got one piece of a random Nyx Assassin set. This event also had this bizarre system called the Offering to the 8 Shades of Fortune, where it was just a menu in your inventory where you could basically leave your items to be deleted with the promise of something in return. It said, quote, "Twice your offering will be collected and wealth left in its place." You ended up getting given back something called Favor of the Shades and Crimson Parcels, as well as some miscellaneous items that were being released at the time. People hated this, and it obviously didn't accurately value the items you put in there, but really the best item you could get returned from this was Shroomy, the courier. Similarly, the Frostivus 2013 patch, known as Wraith Knight, actually 2 months before this, had a similar redeemable shop. There were 3 giftable items that time, and again there were 2 currencies, one premium, one not. The 3 items in that shop were the Wraith Knight Offering, the Wraith Knight Tribute, and the Wraith Knight Ossuary. The most expensive one of the premium currency was the Wraith Knight Ossuary, which contained all of the new cosmetic items that released at the time, and ironically the most expensive item of the free currency is what has retained the most value, as it can drop a random rare, mythical, legendary, or arcana item. All items dropped from these gift boxes are in frozen quality. I have one of those Wraith Knight tribute boxes now to open to show you exactly what they look like as well, and I unboxed a random headpiece for Bounty Hunter from some random set in frozen quality. I'm going to be giving away both of these stupid, worthless, useless items on my Discord. I've signed both of them for the date that they've been opened because it's very bizarre to see one of these treasures opened in 2024. I've recently launched a Discord for Dota 2 items and info. There's been a small group of people on there who's been sharing their interesting items that they own, or their weird arcana sets or whatever. If you're watching this video and have an interest in Dota items like this, then it would be great for you to join. So Team Penants were a feature that was added to Dota to show your support for a professional team while spectating a tournament game. There was a counter for each team on Dota TV showing how many viewers owned a pennant on each side. You could level these pennants up with a pennant upgrade tool for 99 cents, which would increase its level by 1, so when you watched, your counter would be counted for however many times you had leveled it up. They also tracked how many times you watched that specific team play. These currently have 0 use in Dota 2. Their levels are only inspectable if you go 1 level deep into the item inspect screen, so no one outside your inventory can see the levels except for on your Steam inventory page. I have one of these for each team that exist because there's something profoundly wrong with me, but the coolest ones I have are level 100. The Steam Summer Sale in 2014, like many Steam sales during that period, had different rewards for different Valve games. During the Steam sale, if you crafted a Summer Adventure badge, you were granted 1 random gift from the entire gift drop list of all of the different games that were having items for that event. Dota 2 had 5 different items of different rarities, and they were summer sale rewards level 1 through 5. These can drop increasingly rare items from the drop list, starting at common up to mythical for levels 1 through 4. They also have a pretty high chance of dropping 200 compendium points for that year's compendium in 2014. The most rare and most expensive was the Steam Summer Sale 2014 Reward 5. This drops the Eternal Machine Head, which is an immortal for Clockwork, which is exceptionally rare nowadays and is worth around $500. These are absolutely worthless to open and are only a collector's item today. I'm going to open one now anyway to show you exactly what they look like. When you inspect these in game, you can see they have over 600 different items on their drop list. And talking about useless items, I got the 200 compendium points. This item is totally useless. It has already expired, so it's going to show in my inventory until I relaunch Dota 2, and then it will be gone forever. So this is, out of all of the awful things you can get from these, this is the worst because it's literally nothing. I did open a level 2 as well and got this Lena item. It has this weird description text that says effect 0.0, which doesn't mean or do anything either. There's plenty of other weird useless items like the Fantasy Ticket Season 2, which is no longer usable for the old fantasy system. Or, for example, Valve does still directly sell Battle Cup tickets, which Dota Plus has made obsolete. Another thing is that Dota 2 used to use a ticket system to view tournaments in the in-game client. You can now view all tournaments without requiring a ticket, but in the first few years, a major source of tournament funding was through Dota TV sales. These tournament ticket passes are still sold on the second-hand Steam market. They cannot be used. You cannot add these to your Dota account. You might have noticed a ticket tab in your profiles page. For some of you new players, that might be completely empty. Old Dota 2 players will know what that was, and you might have some old tickets for tournament passes you had purchased years ago, but these passes you purchased on the Steam market, there is no way to use them anymore and you cannot add anything to this page. So whatever your ticket account page currently says, it will say forever. So the old treasure chests in Dota 2, when they were released, they used to drop constantly and you had to purchase a treasure key to open them. Now those treasure key items were marked to expire. Some of them turned into different items or a few other examples, but some of these you can still purchase on the second-hand market. These treasure keys today, you can use them to trade them into one of any of the old retired treasures. However, it's cost prohibitive as all of these treasures are worth significantly less than what this key will retail for in the collector's market secondhand. Now, something else interesting is that most of these old treasures, instead of using the typical animation for opening a treasure, even in Reborn, with the set spinning and then the item you have popping up at the end, they just instantly reward the item like this. Charms are something absolutely bizarre that Valve will still actively sell you on the store for some reason. None of these make any sense to purchase whatsoever, and it doesn't make any sense that they're still actively sold. And I'm almost certain that you've never seen these before. These were items that when they were released cost about 1/3 the price of a new treasure. And you had the option to purchase one of these charms, which gives you the ability to predict before a game, much like today's victory shout. And if you were able to correctly predict 3 victories before you incorrectly predicted 2, your charm is turned into the treasure itself. If you incorrectly predict 2 victories, however, the charm is destroyed and turned into 2 charm fragments, which now are absolutely useless given the lack of a crafting menu. But you must know by now that wouldn't stop Valve from saying something like, "It's not useful for much, but you can always recycle it." They're useless today, and I don't know a single player who, even when these were an active thing, who purchased these back then either. There are some other interesting things on the market, like the old Fistful of Snowballs. These items have an equip option on the dialogue menu, but they do absolutely nothing. The Pile of Coal is the same. These were old consumable items that you could use during a game. They tend to use these now during events like Frostivus and give you them for free. Pins are definitely a strange one. You'd think that they would work like challenge coins do in CSGO. If they had models which you could inspect and display on your profile, they would be pretty cool, but these items were introduced before the customized profiles in Dota 2 were a thing, so these were actually designed to be shown off on your Steam profile page itself. I haven't seen one of these displayed for a very long time. They're quite expensive and quite rare. A lot of them were tied to physical purchases. Except weirdly for the TI attendee badges for a couple of years, they were made marketable for some reason, so you could just buy them without attending TI. Now you have to get a physical pin with a code that locks it to your Steam account in genuine quality. Treasure set tokens are something interesting as well. We haven't seen them for quite a while. They're awarded in a few separate cases in the past. When gift wrap was made obsolete, which you did used to have to actually buy a $1.50 item to gift something to somebody else, those unused gift wraps were turned into treasure tokens when gift wrap was set set to expire, but the ones you might see now on the market are the Nested Treasure 2 set tokens from the Nested Treasure. I do have one of these from when that treasure came out. These contain like 100 different sets you can choose any one of. There's nothing profitable to take in these either, so they are purely collector's items as well. I also have an International 2017 Collector's Cash set token. You could use this to redeem any of the Collector's Cash sets from that year's treasure, as long as it was in the regular rarity, but I've kept this token intact since then. Something bizarre to see now is the Coin Treasure from fall 2015. This is a strange currency that we've never seen since, and an odd crafting system that weirdly is still in the game. If you do own these sets, I believe that these menus still work, but I have no way of checking. You can do absolutely nothing on this page, but you're still able to see the crafting menu, and weirdly, if you go to this, you're actually able to view your inventory in the same way it was before Reborn. So if you had a weird obsession with the collection system, or if you want to see your items not stacked and in a more interactable way than the current pre-sorted inventory, then you can do this if you have any particular reason to do so. In a similar vein, you're actually able to still see the International 2021 Compendium Battle Pass page in-game. If you go to your chat wheel and then go to Sounds, scroll all the way to the bottom, and click on the padlock of the 2021 sound, you can open this menu and look at this old battle pass. You can't interact with this in any way. There's nothing useful you can do with this, but you can still have a look and browse through it and see what it did look like. You can see some bizarre dialogue options, like clicking on the old Team Supporters Club will show you today's Supporters Club with the old DPC information. However, the strangest thing about this is if you click here, you can actually get to the 2022 battle pass, and you can view all of the rewards that were from that time. You can go through this battle pass and see everything. Again, you can't interact with any of this. There's nothing useful you can do, but you can click on these and you can see the item intros for the CM persona, the Phantom Assassin persona, the Razor Arcana, and the Faceless Void Arcana. You can also make your way to the old sticker dialogue pages, which is just bizarre to see. And finally, someone can appreciate my sticker collection from 2022. Some other weird stuff is the old Smeevil items like the Cleft Hawk's Call or the Mammoth Bait. These are all totally useless today, but they were items that we used to upgrade Smeevil couriers back in TI3. TI3 also had 4 bounty items, which was similar to the Bloom Baskets. I don't own any of those because they're quite expensive and only drop items from the drop list up to mythical quality. They have a unique text line which says the Compendium Fantasy Challenge of 2013 when you open them, but they are prohibitively expensive and drop absolutely nothing worth anything at all. Armory expanders no longer have any use to us. You used to be limited to a certain number of inventory slots in Dota 2. You had to pay to expand your inventory slots. It was an idiotic system that was a holdover from Team Fortress 2, but Valve quickly realized that they would rather have people purchase more cosmetics rather than run out of inventory space. But you know, TF2 players in 2012 were a certain type of breed that were happy to buy these kind of items. There's plenty of weird gems that do almost absolutely nothing. The Compendium gem from 2014 was given out as a reward for Compendium levels. These have largely been replaced with trophies in recent years. There's the Dreamer's Gem, which is very bizarre. It was a ticket reward for the Asus ROG Dream League Season 1. This gem tracked dream-related skills of Dream Coil, Nightmare, Echo Stomp, and Song of the Siren. It used to give your item Ascendant quality when you placed it into an item, but this had been since removed. There is only one way to get Ascendant quality items now, and that's through the Bloodstone of the Ancestor, or the Bloodstone of the Precursor, and Bloodstone of the Founder. These 3 different levels of this item were given out depending on how many invites you sent to people on your friends list when Dota 2 was in beta. There are actually 3 separate versions of this item depending on which region you're in. For all of the regions outside of China and Korea, you got the different bloodstones. Inside of China, you got the Ascendant Orb, and in Korea, it was this gem. The gems for China and Korea don't actually change depending on how many invites you sent. They just track how many victories you have on the item. There's absolutely no way to get these gems anymore, and if people do have an Ascendant quality item in their inventory, it will be the only one. There's plenty of strange bundles that you can buy which make absolutely no sense to purchase, as their contents is significantly cheaper than the bundle itself. These are simply collector's items, as the Dota 2 store which used to sell these no longer exists in the game. Heroic Effigies are interesting. They were rewards that were dropped during professional games, mostly during TI, for a very specific period of time. They used to do heroic drops during tournaments that were sponsored by Valve when there were 50 or more viewers during a specific game on Dota 2 TV. When an event happened like First Blood or Roshan being killed, random items from the drop list were dropped to viewers with heroic quality. This meant that they had their game ID and the team names and logos, as well as the event they were dropped for, embedded in the item description. These items stopped dropping and were replaced with heroic effigies, which are interesting in that they're unique because they don't actually require an effigy reforger to change their pose. They're locked to the hero and set that was used during that game. They look quite interesting in the effigy UI in-game for someone to commend, but it's odd in that you can change their pose without any cost whatsoever as much as you want. That's the most interesting items I'm aware of that have been left to rot in Dota 2. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more like this. Thank you so much to my YouTube members for supporting this channel. My YouTube members are shown in my inventory at the end of every video I post, and there's also a section on my useful links spreadsheet with all of my YouTube members as well.